Like, so this, what'd you say? Eye in the Sky and Man in the High Castle
Yeah.
satisfied you in that way? I mean,
They just went, and actually the Three Stigmata.
yeah,
Three Stigmata, yeah.
just went.
But that was such a tribulation to be into as a book, to suffer the presence of the evil, the malignant, whatever he was, the spirits, the malus spiritus in the sky,
Really?
that I was conscious of him. So,
You know what I just reread is Now Wait for Last Year. And I remember I liked it when I first read it, but it made a much stronger impression on me this time.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
It gets into the bad marriage thing,
Yeah.
or the most science fiction. I can't
Oh, yeah.
think of anything except Vonnegut player piano that gets into the bad, because that's much better. Is player piano on the bad marriage thing. Anita,
Well,
is the bitch heroine, the bitch wife in player piano par excellence. Always gonna get your coffee.
Yeah.
And that influenced me. Here, if you threw it that, I could take that.
Yeah.
That influenced me a lot, that player piano. That Vonnegut's first novel, I thought that was a masterpiece. And nobody knew who Vonnegut was.
You read it at the time it came out?
And I just read it again and again. I thought, oh my gosh, we've got somebody who has, who's been around town, been downtown, and been around life and knows what it's like. Get into these relationships.
Now slow down and log it up.
And then I promptly got into the same relationship, and everything he had in his book, I learned nothing. I didn't apply it to life, I said it must be awful to have this kind of marriage, and I got into that kind of marriage.
Well, I think that the incredible scene, maybe it's because I'm older now too, that I got into it, but the incredible scene Now Wait for Last Year is in a chemical company in the future, when he's in the alternate future, and I have a conversation between, I forget his name, but as the Earthling from now, or from the time of the book, and the guy who's an Earthman who works there in the future, and the receptionist who's a Rig or whatever from Jupiter, and the telepath from Beetlejuice.
Oh.
And they have this conversation about, relationships between men and women, and how love and hate are really closer than most people understand. And
That there,
it's just it's like an extraordinary conversation, and also about what happened in the future, and what happened to the mole and so forth. But it's extraordinary.
That book, there's less bullshit in that book, than there are in most books, really. That book, by the time I wrote that book, I had suffered a bad marriage, That was not based on Vonnegut. By then I had my ass kicked. Like he was
at the same time, yeah, right. And what's fascinating is that he doesn't, that he stays within the marriage, actually.
Well, that's the moral problem for him to solve.
Yeah.
What to do, or the cab advised him at the end to go on the cab stand. But the funny thing is that, no, that's next door, Christopher. You have to learn boundaries. The thing is that the moral problem, you got a wife that's hopelessly ill, and he decides to stay with her, as the cab advises. I forget what reasons the cab gives, but whatever they were, I guess they were the best reasons that I could find, and they were convincing as well. I think the cab pointed out that all life is sort of like a hurricane. There's that much difference. That he could go on forever and ever, I guess. That would be the argument I would give now. One could always say, well, like a little kid at Christmas time, this present, this is what I wanted, I'll open the next present, and so on. But that this is the warp and woof of life, but the funny thing is that I wonder how practical that advice is. It's morally obviously sound. It sounds good. It's one of those things. I just said it was hardly any bullshit, man. The guy is taking a moral position which I wonder if he can ever apply. And I say that now because my experience since I wrote that was, being married to somebody who was hopelessly ill, but although I never left her. I would have been well advised to have left her. You see what I mean? I mean, following my own advice led me down the garden path. You see, that I felt a moral responsibility to somebody who is hopelessly ill. What you're talking really about is self-sacrifice. The person sacrifices himself for another person, as if somehow this is always automatically good. That one's own life is less, of less worth. And there must be a way to resolve this that doesn't force one person to do that. You know what I mean? Because you then have assumed you've moralized life, rather than living life, you've moralized life, you know what I mean? You're doing something because it's the moral thing to do. And I don't feel like that answers that question, really.
It's obvious that the book was much too sophisticated for most science fiction readers. I mean, I'm that, that kind of concern, just isn't...
That's true.
A very broad concern of mine.
That's true. And then his suicidal interest, his hobby being suicide, at the end that no guilt. Oops, I got it. It's all right. She knows what hurts her.